problem with an email and OneDrive. I'm going to sign ticket. Okay, problem with email and OneDrive from yes, Yasin Lechugar. Lechguar. I apologize if I didn't say your name correctly. I'm terrible at saying names. A user has a problem receiving emails as they are getting a return to sender. Okay, and at the same time can get into shared drive through File Explorer. Also, whoopsie. Also, when logging into Office 365, he doesn't see his files on OneDrive. So this is a multi-level issue. And what we're going to talk about, well, we're going to have to get into detail because it's a multi-level issue. A user has problem receiving emails as they are getting a return to sender. All right. Return to sender usually means that the email didn't go through or the email itself is not existent. For example, that you send an email to somebody and that email is being sent back because that receiver of the email doesn't exist. So that's one issue, right? Make sure that the email that you're sending emails to, right? So the receiver on the other side, make sure that their emails they exist first of all, and that their servers are working as well. So they may have an issue with their own server that's receiving the email, right? In this case, to me, this tells me that your computer is connected and you're able to send because you get that email back that says return to sender, right? That means nobody received it, whatever the issue may be. And at the same time, can't get into the shared drive through File Explorer. Now, this may be related, it may not be related. So what could this be? At the same time, can't get into shared drive through a File Explorer. So what is a shared drive? Shared drive is just a shared drive that's installed on your computer. Here we go. Here's a bunch of drives, and then if you want to add a shared drive, you go to computer here, and then you select the map a network drive, and then you add it. And here is an example of it. It says, / server share, and then you call it whatever you want. You can name it any letter. So if you suddenly can't get into that drive, either one, you lost access, or you don't have access to that network to begin with. So this could be a network issue, means that the person is not able to get to the network that they're using. Why? Well, maybe their network adapter is, I don't know, broken, but in this case, I don't think it is because they're able to send emails, right? They're sending emails, they get a message return to sender. So that means that they're connected to some kind of network, right? So that's not the case. So what else is there left? Well, it could be VPN, right? It could be VPN, but because we gotta stay on the connection issue. It could be VPN. If they're not connected on the VPN, VPN allows you to connect to the company's network, and the company's network is where the shared drive is located at. So that's another issue. And then you can't get into the shared drive through File Explorer. So what's the other thing? I literally just talked about it related to that other ticket, and that is permissions. If you don't have a permission, you can have a drive installed like this here, and it would just be a big X. You would not be able to get into it because you don't have access to it. You don't have permissions to it. So that's another thing. And then we got also when logging into Office 365, see, this is another third issue. Also, when logging into Office 365, he doesn't see his files in OneDrive. So, this could all be related, and probably is if it's for the same person. It sounds like it's for a same person, and I'm just going to take your word for it. It's possible. And it says also when logging into Office 365, he doesn't see his files in OneDrive. So why is that? Well, can we assume that he had files in there to begin with? And can we assume that he did not delete them? Right? If that's the case, if he deleted them, then you can go to Office 365 and see if you can recover those, right? I have videos on that, on how to recover deleted files. Okay, so here is Office 365. I'm going to pick a random person. Let's say it's Bob Bobson. I just click on him, and then I go to OneDrive here, and then I can access his OneDrive through a link. It says get access to the files. You can do this if you have access to Office 365 Admin Center, or it's called Microsoft 365 Admin Center. I'm sorry, they changed it. So if you click in here, it's going to generate a link, and then I can just use this link to go in. I don't have to log in as the user, but to me, this is the same thing user sees, right? This is, see, it says Bob Bobson. I did not put in an email or anything like that. Why? Because I'm an administrator. I don't need to, I got full access to his drive. And then we can see if he's got things in here or not. This, he doesn't. And if there are things deleted, there should be a recycle bin right here, and then you can restore stuff. Another way to get to this is through SharePoint. So if you open up SharePoint and then go to more features, click on more features. Under user profiles, click open. And this here is going to allow us to access his files basically through just another way. And here it is, manage user profiles. And this one is actually way more successful than going through the first way. And here we're going to look for Bob. I'm just going to type in Bob. Here he is, Bob Bobson. And then we're going to do a drop down here. Then we're going to select manage personal sites. This is related to SharePoint being able to basically create your own shared, like a website front page for your company or your own. This is why this is able to work like this. And here is a recycle bin. If you look over here, over here, here is the recycle bin under site collection administration recycle bin. Bob's not going to have anything in there, but here is the recycle bin. If there's something in there, you can restore it. All right. So in this case, I don't think that's the case here. I think it has something to do with permissions, and that's what I would check to make sure that he didn't lose some kind of permissions and some kind of access. That's what I would concentrate mainly on. I would treat this as a permissions issue. All of this to me together, not able to send and receive emails, and not able to access the shared drive, and not able to access his OneDrive files, is that he lost some kind of access. He lost some kind of permissions, right? It could also be that he got a new profile and then everything is empty, or this and that. I would contact the administrators that have access to some kind of permissions. Okay, I'm going to reply to this. I'm going to say, hello, Yassine. I've never talked to Yassine before, so I have to introduce myself. This is Irvin with PC Support. I have your ticket about, I don't know, email, share drive, and OneDrive issue. I think this is related to access or permissions for this user. I would look into his account settings for the domain and Office 365 access, possibly licenses, but I don't think license, otherwise he wouldn't be able to open anything. So it's more of just access type of deal. I'm going to leave it open and wait for a reply.